Welcome to This Week in High School Sports. I'm Teresa Whipple here with Steve Willits, and we have some exciting news.
We do.
Our sponsor has a new name, Red Onion Cafe and Seafood Bar. Sean Richards is introducing a new concept to his restaurant, and I'm told the grand opening will be soon.
They've already changed the menu a little bit. I went
Yeah.
in there the other day and
Okay.
had a chance to look at it a little bit, and looks exciting, and some good choices on there too. So we certainly encourage people to get out there and check
Give it a
out
try.
Red Onion Cafe and Seafood Bar.
Yep,
Rolls right off the tongue.
it does. So we will move right along to...
And can we point out one other thing?
What?
Sean Richards, excellent job on the Easter egg
Oh,
hunt in Mountlake
yes,
Terrace.
yes, and you were there.
I was. My 8-year-old nephew was in town, so we went ahead
nice.
and checked it out, and he got more candy than he could ever possibly think about eating in one sitting. And but yeah, Sean, for the 10th consecutive year, it was the anniversary, did an outstanding job of putting on a very nice community event for our youth on the day before Easter. So thank you,
Very
Sean,
good,
and
yeah.
thank you, Red Onion Cafe and Seafood Bar.
Yep, okay, well, let's move on to track.
Track and field, the Easton Invitational took place over the weekend. This is the biggest event that takes place in Snohomish County on the track and field scene every year. Up to from 1,200 to 1,500 athletes from over 100 schools, many of which were our very own from the Edmonds School District. And want to mention some of the athletes that placed relatively high at this event. And again, this is an invitational, so it's not as though anybody can show up. If you're competing at this level, you're accomplishing something. In some cases, some of these events probably are more competitive than what you'll see at the state level. So wanted to mention some names of our top finishers, and including our first Action Jackson Plumbing Player of the Week t-shirt. Dillon Hartono from Edmonds-Woodway took first place in the 3,200. I think Dillon already has one of these shirts from last year, but he's got another one now. When you take first at Easton in any event, it's an accomplishment. So Dillon, enjoy that. Speaking of Edmonds-Woodway runners, surprise, surprise. Lucas LaCambra, second place in the 1,600. Diego Peraza, second place in the 3,200 behind Dillon. Ray Free from Meadowdale, second place in the triple jump. And the Edmonds-Woodway DMR relay teams, the boys taking third place to be outdone by the girls who took second place in their DMR race. So congratulations. And while we're at it, let's mention a few more Edmonds-Woodway athletes. Caitlin Rust, third place in the 400 for the girls. Stephanie Robluski, fourth place in the 3,200. And Victoria Keys, fourth place in the discus. So a nice job from some of those athletes. Two other athletes that were there competing for Meadowdale. Matt Hartono, who is no relation to the previously mentioned Dillon, although they have the same last name, and Catherine Doe from Meadowdale both came into the studio to have a little conversation with us about their accomplishments this year, what they're doing in the future. Two very bright young individuals who have accomplished a lot in the classroom as well, and their experiences with Easton. So we talked with Catherine and Matt about the Easton Invitational and oh so much more. Here's that interview. This past weekend, the Easton Invitational took place at Snohomish High School, the largest track and field meet in Snohomish County each year. And two of the athletes that were in attendance and performing are joining us right now, two seniors from the Meadowdale Mavericks. We have Catherine Doe and we have Matt Hartono. And before we even get started, tell me which events you took part in, because this is an invitational where you can't just show up and participate. You have to be invited into a particular event just to participate. Catherine, I know you do multiple events at the school. What did you run this past Saturday?
Yeah, it's a really prestigious meet, and I ran the 100 hurdles and the 300 hurdles.
Okay, so we got a hurdler here. And then, Matt, what about you? What were you taking part in?
I did the triple jump and 4x4 relay.
And what is it like there? Because we hear different numbers all the time. I think upwards of 1,200 to 1,500 athletes participating from over 100 different schools, from various states too. I mean, Oregon and Idaho teams come from far and wide to participate in this. Catherine, is it as insane as it looks like from up in the grandstands?
Yeah, it's pretty insane because there's just so many people and they're all just high athletes, and then they're all coming together to compete. And there's so many people that are supporting them too, and all the food trucks.
Yeah.
And then it's just a really fun time.
Now, Matt, when you are at some of your meets during the course of the season, there might only be 3 schools or maybe just a handful of schools. When you've got over 100 schools like this, it also means sometimes your events tend to be spread out a little bit.
Yeah.
It sounds like, and I know you and I were talking before we got the cameras rolling, long day for you, right? Tell me about what time your day started at Easton and What was the timeline throughout the day for you?
Well, so I was supposed to come around 12 o'clock, but for triple jump, but I didn't have like a ride, so I took the school van, which left at 7:30 a.m. So I got there around 8:30ish. So I had my event at like around 2 because it went on for a long time, the long jump pit. So I finally got to jump at 2 after waiting for several hours. And 4x4 is the last event of the whole meet. So it was around 6:30. So I was basically there for like 10-ish hours.
10-ish hours for 2 events, basically.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, what is that like for you? What do you do to pass time? I mean, obviously you want to kind of stay limber and loose and everything else, but at the same time, I'm sure you're looking at your watch a lot.
Well, I like just watching track in general, and it was like a really prestigious meet. So I got to enjoy like watching all like these events at like a high level, and also like I was also pretty hungry at the time. So I mean, I was just kind of trying to kill time, just eating a few snacks. But I really wanted like a big meal, like the food trucks and
Food
stuff.
trucks, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it was kind of like a little intimidating, but it was fine.
Would you rather be at an event like that where you get to watch all these prestigious athletes and folks who are going to really raise the bar for you? Or is it better to maybe have just a handful of schools where you can maybe take first, second, or third? Catherine, when you're out there getting ready for your event, I mean, this is a field unlike any other. What is the intimidation factor like out there?
It's pretty great because you always know about the athletes that are maybe like first in state or second state, and then that you're competing against them. So that's pretty hard, but you just know that they're going to push you, and while you're racing against them, that's just going to make you better.
So how did you both feel about your performances? Matt, I'll start with you. How did you do this weekend?
So I didn't do as well as I wanted to in triple because I scratched my last 2 triple jumps, but it was okay. My coach said that I was like just a few inches off the board, so it was just a little like minor things, and 4x4 went pretty well. It was a tough heat, but I think we ran as well as we could.
I'm going to put you on the spot here too. 4x4. So who are the teammates that were running the 400 with you?
So first leg it was Isaiah Burke Woodward, and second was Casey Koprinski, and third was Declan DeBell.
There you go. So that's a pretty strong foursome right there.
Yeah.
And then Catherine, what about you? How did you feel about your performance over the weekend?
So in the beginning of the season, it was pretty like the even times, and then during Easton was when I had my season best. So that was just really nice to see my work paying off. But it was a tough one, but it was really great to just see and really compete out there with all those athletes.
Great experience indeed. The season overall for both of you, how has it gone so far? Matt, you're kind of an interesting story in that your sophomore year, you were pretty much doing nothing but sprints. And then last year as a junior, you started to move over more into the jumps. You still do a little bit of both. How has that transition been for you, and why did that transition take place? What was it about jumps that started to appeal to you more and more?
Well, for sprints, I really enjoyed it, and I've always been a sprinter. But some of my friends that were doing track, they've always done jumps, and I just wanted to give it a shot, like my first meet. And I did pretty well, and it was like more enjoyable, I think, than sprints, in my opinion. So I just kept rolling with it junior year, and I've always liked jumps, so I just went with it through senior year.
And so much of jumping is technique and experience. So are you finding that it's been difficult to kind of catch up with some of the other folks who have been jumping for longer periods of time? Or in some ways, I've got to think it's more thrilling because you probably see a lot more progression than maybe those guys do, just because of the fact that it's still relatively new to you, right?
Yeah. So like junior year, I got like a lot more PRs than them because I had like low marks and stuff. But as the season went on, like the technique has been like coming together for me, and it's really nice to see like how like my technique has been going well.
And then Catherine, for you, you do hurdles, but you also do sprints. So how many different events have you participated in this year?
I've done the 4x4 and a couple of the relays, like the 4x2, and then some of the open sprints, and then always the 2 hurdles is usually what I do.
So after you spend all that time doing hurdles, is it almost seem strange when you're out there running and doing the relays when there's no hurdles? Do you find yourself almost mentally wanting to jump at certain points on the track? Or
Sometimes, yeah. I because the hurdles, they kind of make it so it's like kind of distracting because you don't really think about just going straight for so long and all that endurance that it takes. But Yeah, I think that's what is different for me for the hurdles is that there's always that little thing you have to go over.
Sure. In some ways, does hurdles help with your sprinting also? Just, I mean, when you're looking at doing straightaway 100s or 200s, and if so, how is that? I mean, obviously different muscle techniques and muscle memory, I would think, also for your legs. How does doing hurdles maybe help the other events also?
I think because in between is when it really feels like it's just a smaller race and you're really going to each hurdle and that feels like its own race. So then you don't really think about, oh, I have to run 300 more meters, and then so it's kind of different in that aspect.
So shorter races within a race. I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, we mentioned it also, the Edmonds School District event is coming up on May 3rd, which is a Friday. That's when all 4 of the schools in the district get together for a meet. Obviously, it's very competitive in terms of team points, but also for the individuals. You both had a lot of success at this event last year. Is that an event that everybody kind of looks forward to, knowing that really it's all athletes that in some cases you probably are going up against athletes you went to school with or you grew up with? Matt, is there a little more incentive on the line when you're racing in the Edmonds School District Championships?
Yeah, it's definitely fun because it's people locally, at my work, there's people running at the Edmonds School District, in the local schools and stuff. So you get to see them. So yeah, it's pretty nice.
And Catherine, for you, you won the 300 hurdle last year in this event, right? Second in the 100. So are you a little more incentive for you, knowing that you're trying to kind of keep the crown, so to speak, and defend your title?
Yeah, I really, it's just kind of more motivation to just really go out there and compete against all those really good athletes. And it's always a fun one because the whole team comes together and it's all us working together to get a place or to...
Yeah, certainly an event that we recommend for people to get out to. And also another big one coming up, well, 2 really. You guys are going to be competing against Edmonds-Woodway and Marysville-Getchell this Thursday at Edmonds Stadium. So if anybody wants to get out and watch the Meadowdale track and field team. And then on Saturday, the Shoreline Invitational, another prestigious event that takes place in the area. Smaller numbers for this one, right? So it's a little bit tougher to get into. Do we know which events either one of you are going to be competing in on Saturday? Because I know smaller fields on this one too, right?
Yeah, so I think I'm running the relays and stuff because it's one relay per school, and I'm in the 4x1 and 4x4, so probably that. But it is very competitive because I think they take top 1 of your event from each school, so yeah, it's pretty tough.
Okay, so we will see. And what about you, Catherine? Do you?
I believe I'm doing the 100 and 300 hurdles.
Okay, and hopefully a shorter day there for Matt also, so we'll
Oh,
have to get you there at 7:30 in the morning. Talk a little bit about some of the other athletes that we're watching for the Mavericks this year. Who are we watching out there? Maybe let's start with some of the, Matt, I'll start with you, some of the other jumpers at the school, because I know you're having some success there this year.
Yeah, so definitely Ray. Ray has gotten 2 huge PRs in both long and triple.
And that's Ray Free, right?
Yeah, Ray Free. And yeah, he's really close to the school record for both. He's 3 inches off long and maybe 2 inches off triple. So he's improving and he's definitely gonna get the school records.
He took second at Easton over the weekend in the triple jump, right? So Ray's one of them. Who else is out there jumping with you this year?
Braden Kotzman. He's a junior and he's doing well on all 3 jumps. He already got 2 PRs. 3 PRs actually in both long, high, and triple. Yeah. So he's a really great guy, and he's just even though he's kind of a junior, he's also he also motivates the underclassmen, and he's a really good leader.
Catherine, what about some of the runners? Who are we looking at out there on the track?
Some really great freshmen are Declan and Declan DeBell and Sonia Amy. They're really they're a lot of talent. They have so much potential. And for hurdles, we have Natalie Pope, we have Allie, Ryan Seacrest is also running it. Yeah, just a lot.
Not the
really
Ryan Seacrest, we should.
Oh
point
yeah,
out.
just our Meadowdale Ryan Seacrest.
Right, there we go.
And then we have who else do we have?
For sprints,
Sam.
Sam Libier, he's a sophomore. He didn't do track last year, and he's our top sprinter, and he's doing really well. He's gone into the mix of things really easily, and he's just a good part of the team. He motivates other people, and he's a great part.
And any throwers we should mention as well, or?
Alex Maxwell is a really great competitor.
Alex Maxwell, Alex Kruger too. He was also first year doing track, and yeah.
And Adriana Valadez is also a really great athlete too in all sports.
And a few other names that we that you just
Yeah.
mentioned there that we've had a chance to talk to in the past too. And Coach Matt, what about him? What's it been like working with him?
He's awesome. So I came to school as a sophomore, and I just decided to do track because I was just interested in it, and he's been a really good mentor. Like starting out as a sophomore and new to school, it was kind of rough trying to get into which event I should do and stuff. And he's been really good, easy to talk to, and really just a good mentor.
Very good. And as far as goals for the rest of the season, again, we mentioned the Edmonds School District Championships coming up. We go on to Wesco and districts after that. Do the two of you set goals in terms of where you want to finish in terms of placement at some of those events, or is it more about PRs? Catherine, what would you like to see in terms of if you had a crystal ball here and could look ahead for the next month or so of the season, what would you like to accomplish?
I really am just striving for PRs and just seeing myself improve and just getting to the best that I can be. And a goal is district finals would be for both hurdles, and that would be a pretty
You'd
good
be happy with that? Very good. And Matt, what about you? What are your goals for the next few weeks?
So I'm just thinking about PRs. I just want to improve. I also want to do track as long as I can. So probably just get into as many meets as I can, like districts and stuff. So yeah.
And we should mention these two, getting it done on the track, but also really getting it done off the track. Before we talk about grades and where you're going to go next year, tell me a little bit about FCCLA. What is it, and how involved are you both in that?
It's kind of a volunteering and just a school community club where we just help out with activities and events.
And giving back to the community in the process, always a good thing. And both of you getting it done in the classroom in a big time sort of way. You both already know where you're going next year. Let's talk about that a little bit. Matt, where will you be heading off to, and what are you looking to study possibly?
I'm going to University of Washington, and I'm planning on studying environmental engineering.
Excellent choice, very good. And then Catherine, for you?
I'm also going to the University of Washington, and I would like to study either biochemistry or maybe some other, maybe public health or something like that.
So we have science and engineering here, so two very smart individuals on this up here at the table. And we also should mention too, that this was pretty cool. You're both, not only are you getting it done in the classroom, and you're also excellent athletes, you both have jobs that you work while you're balancing all this. Matt, you kind of have a fun gig. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing when you're not.
Yeah, I'm a lifeguard at Linwood Rec Center, and it's a pretty fun job. I got it the beginning of junior year, and it's just been fun. Going to guarding the open swim and stuff, and seeing the kids mess around. Maybe mess around too much. Talk to them.
Did you kind of put them in their place sometimes?
Yeah.
Every once in a while. Very good. And then Catherine, you're part of a program that I know some of the other schools are also taking part in the school district. Talk a little bit about where you're doing an internship when you have your free time, if you will.
Yeah. So along with a couple of other interns from the Edmonds School District, I work at AGC Biologics, which is a biopharmaceutical company where they make pharmaceutical drugs for clients and other patients.
And you're doing that during the school day as well at times, right?
Yeah, either before school or after school or on the weekends.
So great, gaining some valuable experience as she starts to look ahead towards the University of Washington and beyond. So again, two athletes having exceptional years on the track, off the track, having some fun while they're at it, and somehow they're managing to juggle all of this. So it's very impressive. And again, we should point out Thursday, Edmonds Stadium, if anybody wants to watch them. Saturday at Shoreline Stadium for the Invitational. And then the following Friday on May 3rd, the Edmonds School District Championships. The season kind of flies by, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
It's going by quick. So again, if you get a chance, get on out and watch Catherine and Matt and the rest of their Maverick teammates. Thank you both for coming in, and best of luck to you.
Thank
you.
I will have to say I admire anybody who can get over a hurdle.
You've tried it once or twice.
Yes, and it was not a good experience, but
No.
I admire those who can do it well.
I am fearful of trying to jump over anything, especially at this stage in my life. And yeah, to watch the way some of those athletes make it just look so graceful and easy, and it's not. Any of the jumping events really, or hurdles for that matter. So yeah, I commend Grace. Let's try that again. Why did I call her Grace? I was gonna say Grace, because she's graceful. Graceful Grace. Good one, Steve. Let's try it again. That was one of the old-time ones there. Now she's got the giggles, though, so now you're really in trouble.
All right, this is why we don't do it
Grace!
very often.
Graceful, Grace! I don't usually make that big of a blunder. That's pretty bad there. Okay, here we go.
First time for everything.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. I totally lost my train of thought. I'll get it. Just
You and the hurdles.
okay, I got it. Well, I have to say I admire anybody who can do the hurdles.
Yeah, and some of these athletes make it look so easy, don't they? It's
do.
effortless, but it's not.
No.
Very graceful, and the way they're able to not only jump hurdles, but triple jumps, high jumps,
Yeah.
pole vaulting, any of it. I don't even want to get near it. But it's fun to watch, and yeah, they're extremely good at what they do. Not only Catherine and Matt, but all the other athletes in the area. And yeah, it's always fun to hear about their experiences with that.
Yes, it is. Well, let's move on to baseball.
Yeah, quite a few good baseball performances. Pitching still seems to be kind of the topic of discussion for the Edmonds School District teams. We've had a lot of good pitching this year, and I know Mason Vaughn from Meadowdale picked up a victory over Edmonds-Woodway earlier this week. I think Thomas Blayhouse returned the favor when he was pitching for Edmonds-Woodway. Jesse James Martineau had a nice pitching performance against Linwood. Mountlake Terrace sweeping Linwood last week. But it was the first game of the two in that series that we really want to talk about. Last Tuesday, Mountlake Terrace and Linwood, Josh Latimer on the mound for Linwood, Dillon Gordon from Mountlake Terrace, both have been exceptional this year. And pretty much exactly what you would have expected in that game. 0-0 going into the ninth inning. At that point, Josh had been already pulled out of the game. He had met his pitch limit. Dillon was getting close. He actually got to his pitch limit on his very last batter that he faced in the ninth inning. And then Mountlake Terrace ends up winning it on a single in the bottom of the ninth. So Mountlake Terrace 1-0 victory. Speaking of Mountlake Terrace and speaking of Dillon Gordon, we had Dillon in studio tonight to talk with him about not only that game, but also about the season in general and also their run to state last year, along with his shortstop, Jonathan Kumai, who is a 4-year player at Mountlake Terrace. And a fun conversation, and for two guys who are going to leave quite the legacy behind after they're done this year. It's their senior year. So here's the conversation we had with Dillon and Jonathan. The Mountlake Terrace Hawks baseball team getting ready to wrap up their regular season this week with 4 games over the course of the next 4 days. This is a team that is coming off of a second place at state last year. And both of these guys sitting next to me, not only are they instrumental in the success of the team this year, they also played key roles in that team that was in the state championship game. Joining us right now, Dillon Gordon, who is a pitcher, a designated hitter, a third base, and do pretty much anything you need him to do on the field. And then Jonathan Kumai, who is the shortstop of the team. Guys, first of all, let's go ahead and just talk about state for a minute before we get into what's going on this season. Second place in the entire state. I don't think a Mountlake Terrace team has ever finished that high before. Dillon, you were the closer on that team. You came in relief. Had to be a huge thrill for you guys going through that state tournament.
Yeah, it was really nice. So during all of state, we only played Saturday and Sundays. So through all of state, it was just Kendall, Tanner, and I pitching. You know, Kendall and Tanner would go, 5-6 innings, and I'd close it.
And this was a team that you ended up losing 9 games on the season, so it wasn't as though you were undefeated going into the tournament. I don't think a lot of folks were expecting that type of a run once you got to the tournament. Jonathan, did you guys kind of know all along throughout the season that, hey, we're a team that if we get rolling here in the state and the district tournaments, we can make some noise?
Oh, yeah. Just because everyone was so experienced. We had about 8 seniors last year, and all of them were pretty much starters. And, yeah, so we kind of had a feeling that we would get hot during the end of the season, especially during playoffs.
I know a 2-1 loss to Ellensburg in the state championship game over in Yakima. I was at the game. I watched the coaches and the players coming off the field afterwards, and a lot of dejected faces, a lot of disappointment when you get that close but you don't win a state championship. Dillon, now that you've had a little bit of time to reflect and look back on it, do you carry those memories fondly now? I mean, again, second place, not too many people can claim that.
Oh yeah, it was really good. It was a fun game. It was tight. Everybody had, emotions throughout the game. We got hot. We started yelling from the dugout. It was really fun. I just wish I'd gotten to pitch in that last inning.
Yeah, if only they'd gotten a lead, this guy would have been able to maybe close it out. Jonathan, favorite memory from last season's team?
Beating Anacortes, definitely. They were the favorites to go in the tournament. We smacked them in the first game of the playoffs. That was probably the best feeling ever.
I can imagine. Yeah, they were indeed a heavily favored, and you guys did, in fact, knock them off. Now let's move into this season, a team that's contending for a playoff spot right now. And I want to talk about last Tuesday before we go any further. Dillon, you were on fire. For those who don't know, high school baseball are 7-inning games. However, like any other baseball game, if you're still tied, you keep playing. You guys had a 9-inning affair with Linwood last week. You pitched all 9 innings in a 1-0 shutout. We should also point out you only get to pitch 105 pitches in a game, or I guess if you're already pitching to a batter, you can go over that number. You exceeded that number on your final batter that you faced, so you would not have been able to come out for the 10th. How was the arm feeling after the game, first of all? Sore?
It was hanging pretty bad. You know, what's nice is I get to, DH the next day, so I don't have to worry about throwing. I didn't pick up a ball the next day.
Well, and talk about it, because we've had Josh Latimer in here before from Linwood. Great pitcher himself. He went 7 scoreless innings, so really a pitcher's duel between the two of you. Is there a part or a moment in the game where you start to realize that Josh is on fire today? I got to bring my A game and keep rolling with it. I mean, a little extra pressure and an incentive when you know the other pitcher's doing that well?
Yeah, I could tell that he's doing good. Like, a lot of guys will start to fade, in the 4th or 5th inning, and that's when Josh started throwing his hardest. He slowly ramped up his velocity as the game went on, and that's how you tell that some guys are on.
And Jonathan, we always think of like the old days with Felix Hernandez, where he'd go out and pitch a complete game and only give up 1 run, and he would lose 1-0. And you always look at the batters coming off the field afterwards, feeling like they let the pitcher down. Where you guys feel pressure at that moment when your pitcher's out there throwing a gem and it's 0-0 in the 6th, 7th, 8th inning? Are you guys as batters thinking, man, we got to get something here for this guy?
Yeah, I mean, run support's definitely a thing. So, yeah, we feel that pressure just as much as Dill feels the pressure of keeping the runs close and everything. So.
And then the freshman, Addison Maddox, gets the game winner, a base hit single in the 9th inning. Dillon, you were on base when that happened, right?
Yes, I was.
Talk about the final play. Did you know right away he got it through, or?
No, I didn't realize it went through. I was on second base at the time, and he hit one right off the cap of his baseball bat, and it just spun and kept on spinning. And right when their shortstop, Gabe, can't remember his last name.
Yeah, Newsom probably. Yeah.
Yeah, Newsom. When he was going to get the ball, he got right in front of the ball perfect, and since he hit it off the cap, it spun and bounced to his side, and he wasn't able to get it.
Game over, and this guy gets the shutout. So nice victory there. We should also mention too, I probably would have gotten you another shirt, but we only do 1 per season. Dillon was our Action Jackson Plumbing Player of the Game for a shutout he had earlier this season. So we're going to go ahead and give you that shirt right now and have you wear that proudly there. So thank you to Action Jackson, and certainly something that was well earned for you. Jonathan, guys having a heck of a year pitching wise. What is it that makes him such a good pitcher?
Just a lot of it, I think, has to do with his intimidation factor. This dude's huge.
Goes out there.
If I went up there in the plate and saw like a 6'5" kid that's pretty built, I'd be pretty scared.
Do you use that? I mean, do you play psychological games knowing you're a little bit bigger and when you're out there? Or?
I mean, I'll throw inside on some guys, try to back them off the plate, but not too much to my knowledge.
What is your best pitch?
He's got a wicked 2-seam.
Yeah,
Does he?
my fastball, it runs a whole lot, drops off the plate, and I felt like that pitch really helped me go the full 9 innings because, I only got 7 strikeouts in the game, and I only got 4 through the first 8 innings, and the majority of the outs came on that fastball that guys rolled over and hit ground balls. It's a lot easier to get a guy to roll into a double play than to strike 2 guys out. It takes a lot less pitches and allows me to go 9 innings.
So when you're getting guys to hit into quite a few ground balls, that means you need a pretty good shortstop, right?
Yeah.
Talk about this guy over to your right here. What's it like having him out in the field?
It makes it so nice. Like the ground ball will go to them, and I'm already walking, to the dugout because I know it's gonna be an out. I think he was in like the 8th inning or something, and we had a runner on like 1st and 2nd, and Carson Spiegel hits a line drive right to Jonathan, saved the game.
So you pretty much feel like you got a lot of confidence.
Oh
in
yeah, so much confidence.
So give me a scouting report. Is it his arm? Is it his glove? Is it just instincts? What is it about Jonathan that makes him such a good shortstop?
He's really polished. You don't see him. His initial reactions off to the ball. He's he gets moving very quickly. You know, he's just super smooth and doesn't make errors.
So we've got our shortstop here. We've got our pitcher who also has a heck of a bat too. We're having a nice year at the plate. Usually DHing when you're not pitching, and sometimes playing third. Let's talk about some of these other guys on this team here. Start off with the infield. Jonathan, who's playing alongside you out there?
So far we've got Lane at second and
Lane Zushin.
Lane Zushin at 2nd, Jesse Martineau at first, and then Ryan Kukashian, sophomore, at third.
And Ryan's having a nice year as a sophomore too, right? Getting it done.
He's hitting really well.
He really stepped it up this year.
And as far as the catcher, Dillon, that's your department. So I'll have you talk about that. Who's catching you this year?
The first start, I had Lane catch for us actually, and he had a really good game. Threw a guy out, but he's just a catcher for Jesse currently. I have Hayden catch for me, and he's doing a really good job. You know, the game at Linwood, he called a really good game. For the most of the part, I don't shake him off too much. I see what he says and I throw it, and it really helps when he knows what to call.
And that's Hayden Went, the junior, so nicely done there. And then outfield, who are we looking at out there, guys?
We got Caden, Alley in center. Honestly, it varies a lot in right. Probably the starter would be Casey.
Yeah, Casey or
Dominic. And then in left, we have Robbie Behringer.
Okay, another young guy too. So
Yeah,
we got
a
some
lot of
youth out
young
there.
guys.
Yeah, and now who else is pitching when you're not on the bump?
We have Jesse, who's our second starter.
Jesse Martineau, yeah.
And we have the freshman Cody Snow. He's really stepped it up. You know, when he's pitching, everybody's yelling like, "Throw that snowball slider." But let's see.
Were you surprised to see the freshman go out there and do as well as he has this year? I knew he had some
yeah.
talent coming in, but
Yeah, when I first saw him, throw his first bullpen, I knew he was pretty good, but some of the things that he's done to some of these teams was very surprising. He's very humble and quiet. He goes about his business, and he stays really calm during the game, which is impressive for a freshman. A lot of guys will go out there and get flustered and not do so well.
And who's taking your place in the reliever role? Do we have a closer this year?
We don't have a set closer currently. I think the closest that we have to it is Ryan Kukashian. He just throws really hard. You talk to him and you ask where he's trying to throw the ball, and he doesn't give you an answer. He just throws it. Right now he's more of a thrower than a pitcher, but we also have a Casey coming big up in the relieving role, and we have kind of a revolving door of like Dominic and a couple of different guys.
And talk a little bit about the difference between closing versus starting. I mean, it's a hard transition. I mean, obviously the casual fan would say pitching is pitching, but really different mentality as far as how you prepare and different mindset, right?
Yeah, being a starter, there's more margin for error. You come into a game and, as a reliever, you have to throw strikes right away. Like the game against Linwood in the second inning, I hit 2 guys, which if I would come in relief, that would be bad. But since I hit 2 guys, got out of that inning without giving up a run, I could stretch out those mistakes over 9 innings.
So less pressure for you, do you feel? Or
Yeah, I feel that there's less pressure, actually, being the starter.
Jonathan, 4 seniors on this team, right? The 2 of you, Jesse, and then Lane. You're a 4-year varsity player. Depending on how the playoffs shake out and what it looks like next week, you guys potentially could be playing your last home game here this Friday. You got 4 games in 4 days. Has it kind of set in yet that this is your senior year and it's about to come to an end here pretty soon? I mean,
yeah, it's tough. I mean, I've played with these guys pretty much my whole life since like elementary school. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough to think about. These are like some of my best friends that I'm playing with, and so it's kind of it's exciting, but it's also sad at the same time.
and we should point out the playoffs will start next week. It's an RPI system, so waiting right now to see where Mountlake Terrace fits into the equation there. Top 4 teams get an automatic berth into a double elimination tournament. Teams 5 through 12 have to play each other. And right now, you guys, as it stands when we're recording this, are in the number 9 spot. So number 8 would get you a home game. Number 9 sends you on the road, maybe even to like an Anacortes or Blaine. So Dillon, a little extra pressure for you guys to get some wins this week so you can maybe jump over a few of those teams, right?
Yeah, Coach Waters has been telling us that, we're really looking to, step it up this week, get some wins. He said that, getting 3 out of the 4 wins, that should be getting us in the state. You never really know with RPI, but, this is a, week where we really need to knuckle down and do good.
So we should mention you had a game scheduled for Friday against Edmonds-Woodway, rained out. We're filming this on Monday night. You were supposed to play right before you came here, rained out. We think the weather report's looking better this week, but you guys have currently, you're at Mountlake Terrace on Tuesday, tomorrow at 4 p.m., at Cedar Crest on Wednesday. You're home against, or no, you're at Edmonds-Woodway on Thursday, and then you're at home against Cedar Crest on Friday. So 4 games in 4 days. Jonathan, that's you guys are used to this though, right? I mean, a lot of you guys play summer ball where you're playing double headers,
Exactly.
4 games in 4 days. But then again, you've got school during the day, you've got families to go to in the evenings, you've got jobs. Well, what is it like when you have to cram in that many games in a high school season?
Honestly, I think it's fun. I like playing all the games at once instead of it more spread out. It's not usually like this, obviously, but I like it a lot better than just the regular.
Get in there and play them and just get it all over with.
Exactly.
And for you, Dillon, I know pitching. I know you're planning on pitching the Tuesday game tomorrow. Usually there's only 3 starters in a rotation. You guys are going to probably have to go to your bullpen a little bit more.
Yeah.
Is there talk about maybe even having you throw less innings so you can pitch later on in the week, or does that change strategies at all?
You know, coach really doesn't talk about strategy. He just tells me, you know, what I need to do.
Pitch
you know,
until he tells you not to, right?
yeah,
Basically.
you know, my focus is to go tomorrow and pitch as best as I can. He never tells us like, oh, I want you to go a certain amount of pitches and we'll pull you and do something like that. We're going out. We're really in these four games in 4 days. We're trying to get momentum early into the game. So we're putting everything we can into the first 2 games. You know, even if it does sacrifice, you know, some of the options that we have for later in games. You know, we need to get this momentum after, you know, we just came off, you know, a 5-game losing streak.
5-game losing streak, which they ended with 2 wins over Linwood. Always nice when you beat the rival 2 times out of 2, right?
Yeah.
You take those games too. Coach Waters, 21-year head coach. I think he's been with the team for a few years, even longer than that as an assistant. Has already announced that this is his last year. So you guys are going out with him. So not only is it the end for the 4 seniors, but it's also the end for Coach. Jonathan, a little extra pressure knowing that Coach, who's kind of built a legacy of his own there, is on his way out the door. Do you guys want to send him off on a high note? Is that something you guys talk about at all a little bit, or?
It's something that goes unsaid. Of course, we all want to do it for him. So far, the season's not looking how we want it to be, and especially since last year, it's kind of hard to top that, but I believe in us.
And so we'll see what they can do. And we should also mention, both of you are already signed to play ball next year, but not together. You're going to be at rival schools, right? Dillon, where are you heading off to next year, and what went into your decision?
I'm going to Edmonds Community College, and one thing that's really helped with that is not only the baseball aspect. You know, I've played summer ball with the assistant coach at Edmonds Community College, so he already had his eye on me. But also with some of the classes that I've taken, the credits transfer. So my intentions for after baseball, whenever that does end, I want to do some sort of engineering, and the 2-year degree in engineering at Edmonds, I already have like 30% of it done, just stuff that I've done in high school.
Yeah, having a chance to already accumulate some of that goes a long way in making that decision, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So do you have any ideas where you might want to play afterwards, or is that still up in the air?
I know I want to stay in Washington. I got some offers from like, you know, Oregon. I got one in San Diego. Not really places. They're not worth it to go out of state to go play ball there. You know, I just want to stay here. You know, everything's fine so far.
See what happens over the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And a guy you might be facing while you're at Edmonds is sitting over here. Jonathan, heading to Everett CC. What went into that decision?
Same thing. It's close to home. Saving a lot of money. That was one of the big issues. Also, I did get some offers from like out of state schools, but they weren't necessarily places that I wanted to go. Most of them were like on the East Coast, and also I want to play Division I, so hopefully this will help me get there.
So get 2 years to get your name out there a little bit more and see where that goes as well.
Yeah.
Any ideas what you're going to be studying later on, or is that still up in the air?
I want to do business management.
Okay, so we got business, we got engineering, 2 different schools. And is it going to be weird that first time that Everett and Edmonds are playing each other and you step into the batter's box and the 6'5" guy's looking at you?
Oh yeah.
We were talking about it off camera. You guys have only faced each other, we think, one time before, right?
Yeah.
And you got him to ground out, is that right?
Well, the shortstop made an error or something.
Okay.
He got on base, but I got him out.
And Jonathan admitted after the fact too, you were supposed to bunt, right? Coach was calling for you to bunt. Is that just because you figured it was Dillon? This was your chance. You were gonna.
Yeah, coach put the bunt sign on, didn't see it, got pretty mad, put it on again, bunted it foul, so there went 2 strikes. And then at that point, I just had to protect.
So we will see. Perhaps in the future, these two will get a chance to go at it again. But until then, they're teammates, and they're hoping to get back to state this year. We have a tough task. Again, 4 games in 4 days, and then on to districts, and we'll see where it goes from there. Dillon, Jonathan, congratulations on a great career for both of you at Mountlake Terrace. A lot of success last year, and we're certainly hoping that you can experience more of that come May and then weeks ahead. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Well, I know after that amazing performance at state last year, the Hawks are disappointed that they aren't doing better, but this season, there's still some time left.
They're still having a good year. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just not winning as many games as they did last year, and rightfully so. That was a team that was just stocked with seniors, a team that had the best finish at state that I think the school's ever had. So yeah, we weren't expecting them to quite play on that level, but nonetheless, they've had a very successful season. I think they would just like a few more wins after
Sure.
what they went through last year, and who knows? It's still that still could come. I mean, this was a team that we weren't expecting to get to the state championship game at this point last year.
Yes.
So who knows?
You
I mean,
never know.
we'll see what happens. If they've got good pitching, Dillon's a phenomenal pitcher, and if you can, team that up with a few nice hits in between there somewhere, and all of a sudden the ball finds the right spots in the field, you get to districts, anything can happen. So we'll see where it goes. But first and foremost, 4 big games coming up this week, all consecutive 4 straight days.
Yeah, good week to catch some baseball. And what about softball?
Yeah, we made a couple of different notes here for softball as our teams are also still playing. Name we've mentioned on the show before, and we've had her in studio. Kate Houghton for Meadowdale pitched an 11-0 shutout over Linwood last Wednesday. Also on Wednesday, Mountlake Terrace defeating Edmonds-Woodway 8-3. In that game, Jamie Bingaman, who has been in studio also last year with her brother, she went 2 for 4 and scored a couple runs, had a couple of RBI also in the game. And Mountlake Terrace starting to play a lot better. They started off the season 0-5, and they've since then kind of regrouped and gone on a little bit of a run themselves. So we'll see how the Hawks can do down the stretch, as well as the Mavericks, who we know are always tough when it comes to district play, and it's
Yeah.
a team that usually ends up in state. So I think Dennis Hopkins and the crew over there, they have higher expectations and plan on maybe trying to get back there this year. So we'll see.
Yeah, they've been having a good year so far. So anything else we need to talk about?
Mountlake Terrace football, new coach.
Oh, you're
New
right.
coach, old
Such
coach.
a big deal.
Really big deal.
Yeah.
Tony Umayam, who was the head football coach, I believe, for 11 seasons, finally decided to step away. I think it was in 2015, focus more on his family. He's got a wife and 2 little girls at home. Mountlake Terrace decided to make a coaching change this season, and Tony is back at the helm. So that was just announced last week. So we're going to replace, we're going to get the new coach from the old regime and see if he can't work some of that magic again. Took the team to state a couple different times and had a lot of success. Winningest coach in the program's history. And so Tony Umayam, once again, the head football coach at Mountlake Terrace.
Very cool, and I imagine we'll probably see him next fall here.
We definitely will. And we have a little golf to talk about, too.
Okay.
And I'm excited about this one just because of the name.
Oh, yeah.
We have one more.
Wait for it.
We have one more Action Jackson Plumbing Player of the Week shirt. And as soon as I saw the name and I saw what she accomplished last week, I knew we had our female athlete of the week. Edmonds-Woodway's girls golf defeated Cedar Crest and Mountlake Terrace in a 3-team battle. Took place last Tuesday. The low score, which is the best score in golf, went to Jordan Easter on Easter week.
Perfect.
Jordan, we got a shirt for you. This is perfect timing. Could not have worked out any better. So Jordan, you are the Action Jackson Plumbing Player of the Week. Day after Easter, Jordan Easter gets a shirt.
Congratulations. Jordan.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right. Well, I guess that does it for us.
Does it for now. We're plenty to talk about over the next few weeks. We're wrapping up all the regular seasons, and we're
gonna
heading
come
into district action here pretty quickly.
Fast and furious, folks.
is.
We're going to have all kinds of things going on next week, and we will see you then. So have a great week, everybody.
Take care.